right? Has anyone ever seen like a great salesperson for a company, right? They're sitting there, they're crushing it day after day, selling everything, and then they do one of two things: either go and start their own business, or they join a small business.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nik Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. So that brings us to the part in the evening where we get to have the main presentation, except tonight it's not really a presentation, it is a conversation with Andrew Cominos, who is the sales guy. So Andrew's a guy that I met virtually pre-COVID, and I was walking out of a networking meeting one morning, and I'm not quite sure how it happened. We must have been chatting on social media or somewhere, but
No.
yeah.
We met at FM's.
No, we didn't. We met somewhere else first. Oh no, we did meet at FM.
At FM's, mate. We met at FM's.
Yeah, that's right. He's right. But anyway,
I'm always right.
He contacted me sort of on Messenger and went up to Brisbane to meet him, and yeah, he's got some pretty awesome stuff in terms of selling. He's got a fairly good bio as well too. He was a salesperson selling vacuum cleaners of all things. So anyone's been to Godfrey's, he was the vacuum cleaner salesman that you would have met when you were going in to buy a $60 vacuum cleaner and walked out with a $2,000 vacuum cleaner. So he did very well there, and we'll ask him about that story as well too. He got promoted through to a training manager, ended up as the national training manager, or was it global training manager for Godfrey's. So what he learnt on the floor, he was able to teach other people and got results.
Don't they say that if you can't do, you teach? So maybe I just couldn't do. I'm not sure. I haven't figured it out. Maybe they pulled me off before. They're like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, it could be that, but my experience is that you actually know what you're doing as well too. So I've been in some of your programs, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who is struggling with sales or want to make more sales. He's got some great programs to really help with that too. He takes no prisoners. He says it how it is. He is a loud Greek guy. When you're with him in the room, you cannot overtalk him. So I'm going to do my best tonight. So,
well, you put me on the side of the camera, so all you have to do is just like push slightly, and I'll just be like.
So let's put our hands together and welcome Andrew Cominos.
It's much different when it's silent clapping. When you're live in the room, it's like, hey, and then like.
Zoom is a different environment, isn't it? So, well, maybe as it is an interview as well too, feel free to unmute yourself and interject at any time if you've got a question or you want to join the conversation, or drop it in chat and I'll monitor chat there. And Ron says, "Oh my goodness, my vacuum cleaner carked it today." Well, there's a guy that could probably sell you one.
If you need a recommendation on a vacuum cleaner, after just tell me in the chat what you're looking for, and I'll tell you which one to buy. That way you don't have to go get sold. I'll just tell you which one you should go get and how much you want to pay for it. That's another thing.
All right. Well, maybe by way of introduction, tell us a bit about your background. I did say you're from Godfrey's, used to sell vacuum cleaners, but there's probably a bit more to it than that, isn't there?
Yes, not much. Not a lot. So guys, thanks for having me along, firstly, Nick. And secondly, so I actually started out, when I was probably, when I was 18 years old, I did not have any motivation whatsoever. You know this whole story. I'm just going to say the same thing over and over again. But I didn't have, we've lost me and found John. So yeah, I didn't have really any motivation whatsoever. And but I remember what happened was I went online and I looked for a job for someone who had no experience and no motivation. And first thing that came up is this thing that said, earn lots of money, no experience needed. And I wanted to earn lots of money, and I certainly had no freaking experience, right? As you can imagine, what that was a little thing called door-to-door selling, right? Because they paid you no money, right? So they didn't care who you were. And, you know, you just had to get out there and earn commission. Now, most people did that for possibly 2 weeks. I managed to do that for clean on a year. So, for anyone who's ever done door-to-door selling, actually, is there anyone here that has done door-to-door selling?
Yeah, I did. 12 years.
12 years?
12 years. Wow, that's pretty impressive.
I meant, so did you do it? So did you do it like for
I did
a
it 2 months.
Or did you do it for a company, or did you do it for like a?
I did it for Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, sweet.
I was their national manager in the end.
Did you? Was it commission only?
Yep.
Oh wow, 12 years comms only.
Yeah, good money.
Good money.
Haven't seen many of them around recently.
I was
No,
the guy.
they got sold to some Swiss Jews in 1989. They walked into the head office in Chicago University and gave them $40 million in gold for it.
Wow. Okay.
There you go.
And then the internet came along.
Yeah. And then
Oh yeah, they were the
$4
first
in
encyclopedia on the internet.
Yeah.
gold. Exactly. Google is the new encyclopedia. But so what happened was I was
rubbish.
selling. What'd you say?
Rubbish.
Well, it doesn't matter whether it's rubbish. It's like, have you ever heard the saying, meet the market where they're at, not where you're at?
Yeah,
Right?
I know. And it's also the fact that lies are lies, but if you tell them often enough, they become the truth.
Yeah, or people at least believe they're the truth. So that's like the lie, the lie which I'll talk about tonight, of all you need these days is marketing. Don't sell without selling. Right? Talk about that later. Right. So the whole idea was, so we were selling we were doing business to business, selling charity. So at least when John was selling his encyclopedias, he was giving some kind of value. I was just asking people to give me money and get nothing in return except for a smile and feel good about themselves. So we did that for a year, and then I realized I kind of needed something that was a little bit more stable. After building a team of 22 people and losing them in the space of 24 hours, something that took me 9 months to build, I realized that this is not super stable. So then I joined Retail Force, the Retail Force, and I got a couple of jobs, doing sales here and there. I did telco, I did Optus, and I did Optus, I did, what's that? There was another company, I can't remember it. But basically I sold a lot of phones for a while. And then what happened was I was always the best, because the reason I stayed in door-to-door sales is because I loved it. And I wasn't the best because I'm just the best salesperson that's ever lived. I just was the best at selling because I understood the fundamental psychologies, because I was obsessed with selling. I was obsessed with what made people tick. I was obsessed with, the fundamentals of business and selling and how to get people across the line. And so then I joined Godfrey's after a couple of years, and that's where I really hit the ground and found my stride. I was a manager and I was a salesperson, and then within the first couple of weeks I was the best salesperson in the company within the first few weeks. And then I was a manager, and then an area manager, and then the national sales trainer, and then the global sales trainer. And then from there, I left Godfrey's actually and became the director of sales for a few different companies. Meanwhile, developing my own models that I could then bring to small businesses and help them to implement similar attitudes and similar processes and systems that I saw were working for big businesses day in and day out. And that is what I'm here to teach you guys tonight, I suppose.
So, in all that as well too, there is, and I found...
I'm here to drink wine.
Yeah, I found that, working in sales, I came from I was taught by the timeshare boys how to sell superannuation. So you can imagine how insurance and timeshare go together. So it was pretty brutal. But out of all that there too, only I've noticed this when I've hired salespeople. There are only a very few people that are any good at sales. Most people are average to bad. So why is that?
Because most people think they're good at selling.
Ah.
Right. So the problem with salespeople or with selling is two things. Right. Well, actually, let's clarify three things. The first thing is awareness of your own ability. Right. So you get two types of salespeople usually. Those that think they're oh man, I've got sales, I'm good, I know how to sell. Right. Sales should be easy. Right. And the second type of person is I'm terrible at selling. I'm the worst. Now.
Actually, that's a good poll. So for those that think they are the top salesperson, really good at sales,
or at least just you think you're good. You think you're a good salesperson.
just type G for good in chat. Those that think that you are, it's a thing that you just don't like and you're just no good at it, just type in, well, what should we type in?
B.
B. Okay.
Bad.
Bad. There you go. So
B. Oh, come on, John.
We got
12
G.
years better be a G, mate, or otherwise I'll be
No,
pissed.
it's average.
We're going to see their learning as well. I like that.
I'm an average. Sales is hard work.
Yeah, it is.
It is
so,
hard work.
So, guys, and I think the thing is people either think they're really good at selling or they're really bad at selling. And I think the problem there is that where I find the majority issue is actually in the second point, which is, I used to, when I was in retail and I was working for commission, I would find that a lot of people would say, in retail I was working so I had a salary and commission. I'd find that a lot of people they'd be like, oh, you're just a retail sales guy, right? That's easy. I mean, if anything, if things don't pan out in what I want to do, I can always be a sales guy. I'm like, well, can you? Right? It takes a while, and for John would really know this, to really learn to sell and to master selling is more than even a uni degree. Like, it is hard bloody work because people are an enigma. Right? And so the best option you have when it comes to sales, right? The best option you have when it comes to sales is to get help, right? Is to model someone else, is to learn from someone who's been there, because otherwise sales is a 20-year life cycle, right? And that's if you're obsessed, right? If you're not obsessed and you don't really care about selling, you've got one of two options, right? And I make this clear. You're either born, right, as a natural born salesperson, which means you'll never be able to teach others to sell. You'll just do it. We've met a few of those in our lifetime, right? Who just happen to be able to convince people, but their entire team can never convince anyone, so they never scale and grow their business because they don't understand. Right? They don't have the processes and the systems and things like that in place, right? Or you get taught.
So that's an interesting thing in that some are natural born and some need to be taught. But let me ask you this here. Like, I know that in marketing, the great thing about a website is that when people come to a website, when everybody comes to a website, they are reading exactly the same thing over and over again. There's no change, there's no difference or whatever. What I have noticed with some salespeople, or not salespeople, some businesses, is that every time they meet someone or every time someone walks into their business, what comes out of their mouth is totally different every time.
Yeah.
So what's the problem with that?
It's all bullshit.
There is that.
Tick. No. So what the problem with it realistically is actually more so that inconsistency develops inconsistency, and the reason people do that is because they are someone who is they're personable, so they're good with people, right? The biggest problem there is I love watching it, right? Have you ever seen? Right? Has anyone ever seen like a great salesperson for a company, right? They're sitting there, they're crushing it day after day, selling everything, and then they do one of two things. Either go and start their own business, or they join a small business, right? And the small business or their own business doesn't have a thing called a sales process. And because there's no sales process, the person then just lives this life, as lots of salespeople do, me included, this life of called winging it, right? And so what happens is their sales skills go down. They tend to convert reasonably when they can get to the meeting, or if they can, but when they get to the meeting, they can't sell premium items. They can't get the sales that they used to get. They just fail miserably. Why? Right? Because your sales process is key. And imagine this, and this is what Nik was talking about before. Let's take 100 people and line them up, right? We take 100 people and put them in a line, and we go and we get one person to go and sell the same thing to every single person. But how they do it is very different. They do something different to every person. They ask different questions, they say different things, they close a different way, they do everything different. Now, what consistency or what results can we expect from that 100 people? All right? No idea. But on the other hand, what if you went to 100 people and you asked the same questions? You found the same problems. You came to the same foregone conclusions, like a myriad of different ones, but they're relatively similar, right? And then, right, on the back of that, you offered similar packages and products, but you just changed the way you interacted with the person based on their personality, right? Then what is the chances we're going to have a consistent result? Huge. We'll just have a bunch of people that say yes, a bunch of people that say no, and a bunch of people that say maybe. And now our only job is to decrease the no's and increase the yeses, because we know that this system works X amount of times. So how do we make it more efficient?
So what?
And that's what big businesses do, and that's why they work.
So that's your well, it's probably anyone that's rung up a call center, like let's say Telstra call center, and the people there that are working at the other end. You ring them up every time, they say the same thing. They're working off a script that's in front of them. And I know that I've said to them, don't tell me the script. I already know the script. Here's my problem. But they all just work through a script and it's the same thing.
Yeah, but there's times where, okay, let's make this clear. There are times where you want the script. And I didn't say a script either. Remember that, right? I said the word process, right?
Yeah.
Because John will never, I mean, he's a nice guy, but he can't sell like me. Because he's not me, right? And I can't sell like John because I'm not John, right? No. David is on the call. David Fisher's on the call, and lovely guy, but he's not as loud as me. And so if he tried to act like me, people would want to smack him square and clean in the face, right? But when I do it, it's like I still want to hit you, but a little bit less, right? So... the thing is that you can't, everyone's different. Everyone has to sell the way they are. But what a sales process does is gives you consistency and, more important than that, scalability.
So sales process then is, how do you put one together? Like a big business has a sales process. I know big business have scripts and things like that as well. But how do you put together a sales process for, let's say, someone who is a solopreneur or small business with a small number of staff, or maybe the business owner is actually the main salesperson as well? How do you go about putting something like that together?
All right, I'm going to start with this, and I hope I'm going to start with potentially getting everyone offside here, but 95% of the people on this call, without even knowing you, I'm 100% sure that 95% of the people on the call don't actually know what they do. They think they know, but they don't actually know.
What do you mean?
They don't have total... They know what they do, but they don't have total clarity, right? Actually, John would know this really well because he freaking writes training, right? This is exactly why he would know this, because this is part of it. You need to unpack exactly what it is you do and be able to put that into some kind of learning journey. And so where a sales process starts is total, unadulterated clarity over what you do, what your people want, and what you teach. Right? Right? Actually, the why you do it comes after you at least know what you do, right? Because you create something, why you do something, right? You go, listen, I'm going to be a sales coach because I love it and I adore helping people. Yeah, well, that's great. Let's figure that out in a second. Let's really figure out a way you can, the motivation behind it in a second, right? We know you want to do this, right? But if you know why you want to do it, right? What do you do? What are you doing? What's the learning journey there? Where does it begin? And so what people often don't do is they don't unpack their goods, right? And the biggest one is here is when they unpack it, they don't put it into a streamline of what's the journey for my client? What's the learning journey or the journey to buy for my client? So the reason they don't do this is they go, everyone looks at, if I said to you, everyone, we're going on a trip, what's the first question you would ask me? Anyone?
Where are we going?
Where are we going? And everyone else in the room thought the same thing. Yes or no? Right? Of course they did, right? The problem is the only reason you think that is because you have lived where you've lived for the majority of your life, or you've lived, or you've always known exactly where you are. So we never think about where does the journey start. We only think about where am I going and how long is it going to take to get there, right? And so in writing a sales process, it comes down to where does it start, how long does it take, and what's the ultimate outcome that I'm trying to achieve. So step one for everyone in this room is total clarity over what you do, what people want, and what you teach, right? And then figuring out exactly what John said, which is why you do it, and why they want it, right? But to know why you want to do it and to know why they want it, you first need to know, what am I actually doing? Because I don't care if you know why. If you don't know what it is you do, you don't know why you want to do it. You have no idea. And so it's about brain dumping that and organizing that into some information so then you can start to put together a good offer, have a good message, and then actually know how to sell it. And that's the 5 steps to an ultimate sales process for anyone really quickly is unpack the goods. What's the client journey? What's your offer? Your message and USP, and know how to sell it. All right? They're the 5 steps.
So that sounds reasonably simple.
Not a hope in hell. Could I just say something? With the clarity, half the time people don't understand what they actually have. For example, with you, with the vacuum cleaners, you would have done well with that because you knew your product. You knew what you actually had. And or you just wanted to make sure you got the money for something that seemed to work. What happened with us, for example, we developed a script in the 70s. God, this is going back. It was developed in the 70s, and it was based on a cold call script, for want of a better word, developed by the AMP. Right? There was 28 questions in it, and it sounds a lot, but it wasn't because of the way he did it. And every answer was yes. It was a yes answer. Mm-hmm. And when you got to the end of that, that's where you hit them with the last question, yes or no. Right? Would you like us to come and see you? Yeah. Right? And they say, no. Oh, can I ask you why you said no? Oh, because the sun's up. And then you go back to that question and you work your way down again. So you say, oh, well, let's clarify that. And so we go back and we get back to the same question. Then invariably they say, yes, sir, then you've got your appointment. Right? Yeah. I got taught by the president of the company in Australia. And I remember standing up there in the meeting. We had 6 weeks of intensive training on what the product was. Not about sales, but what the product was. Yep. And he said to me, you take it in and you will go in and you will sell a set every single time. You will sell a set, you know, each time. If you know what you're doing, you will sell a set each time. And I thought, great, not a problem. So you go with all this knowledge in your head, you go with your pricing. I went in and I sold 89 sets in the first 2 months. Now, making $700 commission on each set was really nice. Thank you very much. And he said to me, John, you've sold 110 sets in the last 2.5 months. I said, yeah. He said, how many people did you see? I said, 110. He said, you sold one to every person. I said, that's right. Then he said something which damned me forever. He said, you realize, of course, you'll only ever sell 1 out of every 3 normally. He damned me forever after he said that.
So now you've got an expectation that it's just been set for you and you have to meet it.
Yeah, 1/3.
Yep.
You know, so don't ever let friends say it's, you know, you're doing really good guns, but
I'll tell you this though. I really like the fact that so the first things first about the 28 questions to yes, and then the thing, I mean, that would have worked back then 100%. And
oh yeah, it won't work now because
you
people
do that now and people will hang up on you, right? So the second thing, right, which
you don't ring people anymore.
The second thing, which is really cool, is that you said, like, you got to know your product knowledge, and I totally agree with you. And that's what unpacking the goods is figuring out what is my actual knowledge, what am I doing, what am I teaching?
Well, see, my nomenclature is different to yours, so you know.
And I think the big thing that I do teach people very regularly is, I know plenty of people with I've seen it time and time again. People have amazing product knowledge, right? But they don't understand the fundamentals of selling, so they can't sell a thing. And I see people come in with no product knowledge, but they understand the fundamentals of selling, and guess what? They'll convert. So for product knowledge is extremely important, but what's more important is actually understanding the power of a little thing called consistency.
Right.
And if there's one thing I can get across to everyone tonight, sales process and consistency is so fundamental to your business success that if you don't have one, either start making one literally now or get someone to help you make it, because I can promise you that if you don't have it, you will never be one of those hyper successful businesses that convert highly and have a consistent income, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not about how many leads you have, it's about how many sales from those leads that you can make.
Actually, that's a really interesting thing that you make. A point that you make there is that I had a call from someone this week who's getting about 100 leads a week on their coming in on their website. Who here sort of gets 100 leads a week on their website, or who'd like that? It's a pretty good result.
Why did everyone's hand not go up? I want 100 leads a week. Give me.
So they're doing pretty well in terms of the lead side of things. But the problem with it was that they were not getting enough sales out of it. So out of 100 leads, they should be getting, so maybe 3 or 4 sales. But they just weren't getting there. They were, but they're not now. So there's 1 or 2 things that are happening there. One is that either the leads are not of great quality. So asking about the leads, the quality of the leads, they're the same as they were before. So they're the same sort of leads coming through. So then the next thing is a sales process. Making the sales. So if you've got say 100 leads a week coming in and you're not making any sales, how do you fix that?
So there is a very slim chance that all 100 are bad leads. This is actually one of the really big considerations, guys, too. This is one of the really big issues that marketing and sales have always had with each other, right? Is marketing sends leads and sales people go, oh, you're sending me bad leads, and marketers just say, no, you're just shit at closing deals, right? And so marketers think that they're sending the great leads, and sales think that they're crappy leads. Here's the thing: is marketers are right to some degree. The chances of 100 leads all being terrible are actually very low, right? Right? Unless they have gone to market with a product or a system or something that is completely abstract to what you're actually delivering, right? Then the leads are terrible, right? The likelihood is actually that there's a short circuit in your system, and a way to the way to fix a short circuit, or the way to look at sales, sorry, is to see it as an electrical system. If there's a short circuit, you're not going to get any cut through, right? There's not going to be an electricity in the light bulb. It's just not going to turn on, right? But going through your system bit by bit and trying to see what is effective and what is not, right, will help you to find that short circuit and allow you to solve that problem and move forward. A really good way to do that for everybody here is to keep a sales journal. And everyone's going to go, oh, I don't want to keep a journal, right? But seriously, it's a 5-minute job after every sales meeting. Go, who the person is, what the meeting, so who the person is, what the meeting was about, what went well, what didn't go well, what the result was, and improvements for next time. And that's it. It takes you 5 minutes, and do it at the end of every sales meeting. Within a month, you'll be like, huh, wow, this is really cool, right? Now, I love that inability of conversion is due to marketers who do not qualify the lead, right? As I said before, if the marketer's gone out with something completely ridiculous, fine. But it's very low. It's a very low chance that all of them are going to be tire kickers. Now, should marketers really qualify the lead so we have the best chance of converting? Sure. But for a small business owner, right, the likelihood is, right, that you are the marketer. The likelihood is that you are not qualifying the lead, because that's a easily solved problem, right? The likelihood is that it's an easily solved problem. More importantly, if you aren't closing deals, guys, I can promise you either aren't putting things out there that are actually targeting who is best suited for your service or product, right? Or so when you get in the sales meeting, they're like, this isn't what I thought it was. Or, right, you're just not running a sales process that's effective and therefore closing deals, right? And so it's not just about getting more leads. More leads isn't going to get you the way. It's about fixing whatever is stopping you from selling.
So I'm interested with people here, who here has got a systematic sales process for their business? So just type a Y in chat if you've got a sales process. If you haven't, just type an N in chat. Let's just do a quick poll.
I've got a good poll actually after this, and this is really fun. This is a really fun poll.
All right, so we've got yes, yes, no, 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 no.
For all the,
yeah, pretty much.
For all the N's in the business, I know a guy, just in case you didn't want to know.
And look, having a look at all those N's as well too, that's not uncommon. That
95% of people don't have that.
And that would also be evidenced by my experience when I've hired salespeople. 1 in 5 actually does any good.
Okay, ready?
Because they've got a sales process.
Watch this. Yeah. So, everyone, I've got a poll for you. Really quickly, right? Type in without thinking about it, right? Just type it in without thinking about it. First number that pops into your head. What's your conversion rate as a percentage? What's your conversion rate? 86. 0. 1. Oh my God. 40. 30. Wow. Is that it? Come on, guys. There's not like 6 people in the room. 60. 10. All right. 10 question mark? Right. Now watch how these numbers change. Ready? And this is an ode to clarity. All right. Now, everyone imagine doing 10 meetings right now. Get in your head. Imagine doing 10 meetings. Right? Out of those 10 meetings, how many of those become your client? Go. Now, out of those 10 meetings, how many become your client? 5, 0.1, 7, 5, 5, 2, Right. 295 out of 10 meetings. Damn. Right. Jane. Right. Yes. Right. 29%.
29%,
Okay,
yeah.
that makes more sense. 9. Just see how quickly the numbers change. Right, because people, there's two things here, right? And this is a really good exercise, and I love doing this exercise because either you get people that do this. There's two ways that this happens. People go, I've got a 70% conversion rate, and I'm like, all right, 10 meetings, how many? And they go 3, and I'm like, okay, well that's not 70%. Or right, they go, I've got a 10% conversion rate. I'm like, okay, if you did 10 meetings, how many would you close? And they're like, 4. And I'm like, great. So you'd close 4. Well, how many meetings are you getting? And they're like, well, I've got 100 leads and I'm not getting any meetings. And I'm like, so the short circuit is before the meeting then, isn't it? Right? And so it's a really, really, really powerful way to just quickly ascertain where someone's head is at, right? In terms of their conversion rates. And so, you know, what I loved about John's is that you could tell that he knew exactly what his conversion rate is. Because I said, what's your conversion rate? He said 86% off the bat, right? Right? But I guarantee it, if John went from a lead comes in, all the way through to lead, first interaction, meeting, all the way through to sale, right, it would not be 86%, right? And I'm not saying that it'd likely be high, right? But, so meetings are not leads for me. So you don't have leads with sales that you make? You don't have meetings with sales you make?
I very rarely go and do meetings.
What'd you say?
I very rarely do meetings. This hence the beard. Mine is basically all online. This is coming off on Friday because I'm going to Sydney for a week to see clients.
Oh, mate. Rock up in like a bikey outfit and like full beard.
You know, my conversion rates are based on the fact that I get, out of every 100 quotes I send out, I get 86% sale.
Yep. So how about leads all the way to sale?
Yep. The reason for that is I've been selling to the education industry now for over 20 years. And like, as I think I said, the hairdressing and the beauty packages, the whole of the country uses my hairdressing and beauty packages.
Oh, so you've got a name.
Yeah. You know,
you're the guy.
Yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, because if I have a cock up, everybody will know what's happened.
So the point there is, the point to all of this, guys, is to, you know, and I think we're really getting to the crux of the issue, and you know,
it is consistency. You're right there. You have to be consistent.
How can you expect consistent results if you don't do things consistently and in a consistent manner? Right? How can you do it? Right? But every day we do expect that.
So, in terms of you've been running sales training and helping people with their sales processes now for a while. Have you got any sort of? I was going to say, have you got any success stories? I know you have, but case studies and success stories that where people have come in with a very poor process and have come out with some exceptional results.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. Let me see. Let me see if I can find something. PSM. What are we doing now? Here. Alright, let me just open this PowerPoint presentation really quickly. This is going to be very funny. I like this. Alright. Over the last 12 months, I have been working with Andrew, and that's been absolutely amazing. Would you like to read this?
No, that's my testimonial. So.
Yeah. So one of my favourite ones actually was a guy named Nik Cree, funnily enough. And Nick came to me and he said, he goes, Andrew, I'm converting, right? But the wait time is it's brutal, right? And during that wait time, I lose, 30% of the deals that I've closed, or I thought I've closed. I've sent the proposal and then they just don't come through, right? And he goes, but I'm a web developer. I can't close on the spot. My answer to that was bullshit. Of course you can close on the spot. And he said, how? And so what we did is we spent a day together and we developed a sales process that allowed him to close not 100% of people on the spot, but 70, 80% of the deals, you could probably close them on the spot. So he'd have a meeting and he could close them on the day, right? And that was it, game on, right? And all of a sudden there was a 6-figure sales increase in his business just by affecting the conversion rate. That was it, right? And one of the most important things to remember about sales is, you know, people say to me sometimes, how, you know, Andrew, I can't afford a sales coach. And I'm like, well, that means you need a sales coach, right? But, you know, they say I can't afford a sales coach. But the key factor there was something that I forgot to, I'm forgetting about right now and having a mind blank while I'm sitting here. So, no, the key factor, you know, the key factor is, you know, if you increase your conversion rate by even 2% and you're making, say, 100 deals a year, right? Actually, let's go something different. Let's go, you increase your conversion rate by 5% and you're making 50 deals and each deal is worth, say, $10,000. I know that's $500,000 a year, but let's just keep it nice and even for the numbers for me, right? And we increase our conversion rate by 5%. Now, 5% for anyone who knows anything about sales is such a minuscule amount of increase. It's not even funny. That's something that... What'd you say?
$25,000.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly right. So $25,000. So is that worth paying, right? Say $3,000 to get a sales process done for 25 grand, right? But you got to remember that's a 5% increase by using the sales process with no training and with no practice whatsoever. The likelihood of someone getting a 5% increase is so minuscule, is so nothing, right? It's most people who don't have a sales process implement a sales process and they get a 20 or 30 or 40% increase. And not because I'm amazing, guys. I want to make that freaking clear. It's just because I've given you something to stay consistent with, right?
And if we're looking at the yes and no's, then most people don't have a sales process. So actually having a sales process, even if it's a average sales process, is better than having none at all.
You know, yeah, absolutely. You know who my favorite story is actually, you know her very well, is Pip. Good old. Does anyone here know Pip Meacham? Put a yes or no in the box in there if you know her, like a Y or an N, if you know Pip. Yes.
You do?
No.
Oh, there's a few that don't know her. That's great. Right. We must get her back here to speak.
Yeah, if you don't know her, you need to know her because your business is unorganized without her, right? So Pip, amazing young lady. I met Pip at one of Nik's events actually, and you know, we got to talking and. You know, when I met Pip, she was really struggling in her business, like super struggles. So you remember, you were there, like she was really, really struggling. Like the revenue issue was dramatic. I don't want to get into exactly what it was, but it was bad. And, you know, I remember 6 months later, after working with her, just implemented a sales process, gave her some tips. And you know what the thing about Pip was though, is I want to make this clear. I'm not amazing, guys. I'm good at what I do, sure. But if you don't take action on your stuff, and I'm not saying this to sell myself, I'm saying if you can't take action and you cannot get past your own shit and just push forward, right, then no, sales doesn't work for you. It's about pushing forward. Sales is about, like John and I were saying before, is consistency. If you can't be consistent, you're not going to get anywhere. And, you know, Pip was a really good story, Nik, is that, you know, 6 months later, she sent me a message and said, I just hit my first 6-figure year, right? She went from, you know, about to shut down to, I just did my first 6-figure year. And now she's like crushing everybody, right?
She's won an award. She's yeah.
Again, she's on her way, I reckon, to being $1 million business.
What type of business does she do?
What'd you say?
What type of business does she do?
Systems and processes. So basically, she takes your business, runs through it, figures out all your systems, and figures out the ultimate systems and processes you need to make sure that your business runs as efficiently and time-orientated as possible. She's a freaking machine.
So I bring in all of the cool apps and tools in the segment. She actually goes and implements those in businesses, picks the right ones, implements them, and helps them to understand how to run it. So she's pretty amazing, really.
She's a monster. She's an absolute monster. Right? She makes us look stupid. Right? But yeah. So that would be a couple of little glorified tales, I guess.
So anyone here got any questions while we've got Andrew here about your business, or want to run your business past Andrew here to look at what you could do in your sales process?
Here's a good thing, but also, what's your biggest issue?
All right.
What's your biggest issue, right? And don't ask me something like, how did you get into sales? Or what do you find in sales? That's not going to help you.
We already know he's a vacuum cleaner salesman.
Ask me something that's going to genuinely help you in your business. You have a sales coach here for free. And I'm happy. I'm not a guy that holds shit back, by the way. I'm just not that guy. So if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you the answer. Right? I'm not going to give you the what and not the how. Right? So just ask and I'll tell you. Right?
So feel free to unmute and ask, or drop it into chat. We've got one in chat there already.
Converting cold Facebook ad leads. What do you mean by that? One? Is it one? It's what? One? What do you mean by converting cold?
Yeah, sorry. I used to deal with referrals all the time. I was great. I thought at sales. And then went into, I had basically a 90% conversion rate with any warm referrals. And since I went, COVID started and then went digital, it went almost to zero. And I just can't seem to convert. I can't get the relationship going. I basically cannot take a lead from Facebook ads. And I paid serious money to get a full system implemented, funnels, the whole works, but can't convert. No way. 3 leads out of 300. 3 sales out of 300 doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Not sustainable.
Unfortunately, that's Facebook.
Yep.
So I would converting cold Facebook leads. There's 2 reasons. I'm going to go back to sales process, I suppose, like I always do. But a big thing I would look at is how you are interacting with that person from the get-go. Are you picking up the phone? And when you pick up the phone, are you picking up the phone and trying to sell to them? Or are you picking up the phone and just trying to book a meeting, right? So my rule, guys, for anyone here is the only reason to make a phone call is to book a meeting. Right? And if you're in one of my programs, it's the first thing I say, right? Only reason to pick up the phone is to get a meeting, not to just unless you're checking in with a client, right? And even if you're following up with someone, follow up by booking a meeting with them so you can go through your proposal, you can go through your quote. Because I can promise you, if you're struggling to convert, right, then you're going to get a much higher conversion rate by being on a meeting than you are on anything else. And a really, really good way to do that, mate, is, and I don't know if you are picking up the phone and calling all these people, but if you're not, make sure the ads are getting their phone number so you can do it and see how they found your lead magnet or how they found whatever you're offering them, right? But the bigger thing is when you pick up that phone and you call them, yes, it's more time consuming, a crap load more time consuming, and I totally understand that. But it's better than a 0.1% conversion rate, which is what you write before, right?
Yeah, well, I actually enjoy the phone calls. That's what gives me the buzz. So, but I set up meetings with them, and I had 29 meetings and 3 sales out of those. Okay,
so then the 2 things there is 29 out of 300. Probably that's pretty close to bang on, right? 29 out of 300 because it's a 10% conversion rate on a cold call, right? But I mean, they're not totally cold calls, so I would probably be hoping for more like a 20. So I'd want to see like 50 or 60 out of the 300, right? Because a total cold call, we work on about a 10% conversion on average, right? That's the average conversion for a total cold call, right? In this day and age particularly, right? And then you can double that for a warmer cold call. Where I would be looking at though is 2 things. 1, right? Cut the script in half. Hey man, my name's Juan. I'm doing XYZ. This is what I do, mate. Listen, I don't want to say anything on the call. I'm not saying I'm not a salesperson, right? But I don't want to sell anything on the call. What I actually want to do is book a meeting with you and sit down and have a chat, right? Now, if it's something where they've downloaded a lead magnet, you can go one better and go, hey man, it's Juan. I just wanted to check in and see how you went with this lead magnet. Blah 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 blah. Sweet as. Right, thanks heaps. thanks for downloading Lead Magnet. The only purpose of my call today is to offer you a free strategy call. Anyone that's downloaded the Lead Magnet gets a free strategy call to go through any of the questions or things that you have, right? When's the best time for you, right? That's it. That's all you need. You don't need anything more. No explanation, giant freaking thing. I don't have time. You haven't booked a meeting with me. I'm a business owner. I'm not going to spend 30 minutes on the phone with you. I'm going to give you a minute, right? And if you're going to keep me on the phone for longer than that, I'm not going to book the meeting with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And that's exactly the process I've been following, actually. And that's a system that was set up for me. Yep.
And then so there's something you're doing on the phone then, so I'd have to listen to a phone call. So if you want to get my email off Nick and shoot me a recording, I'll happily, type back to you and see what I saw. But secondly, right, and this is the bigger thing, is the problem, the short circuit then is in the meeting. There is something, if you've got 29 meetings and people were happy to sit down with you for half an hour or an hour, and you got 3 conversions out of the 29, then there's an issue, massive issue in that scenario, because I would have hoped for 15, right, at minimum 15 conversions.
I agree.
Right?
And previously, I'd sit down for 29 meetings, I'd get at least 25.
Yeah,
with the Facebook ones, I don't. And so I don't know what the difference is.
The massive difference there, mate, is that the average conversion rate for anyone getting referred to someone is 80%, right? And that's across the board, right? And that's because, referrals have a little thing straight away called edification and trust. And so trust naturally gives you this bang, right? All right, I trust you already because Nick said you're great, right? And so, it's, that's different. These people don't know you or trust you. So your job in that meeting is to deliver them with certainty. They're sitting down with you because they've decided they like you, right? But now you've got to deliver certainty, right? And then once you deliver certainty, that'll make them trust you. And then once you deliver that trust, then you can say, all right, now pay me some money.
Yeah. No, thanks, Andrew. I really appreciate that.
Right.
All right, a couple of other questions here. Nicola, she's saying biggest issue is selling to families. Do you want to unmute and tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, elaboration required.
Are you still here, Nicola? Oh, yes, you're here.
Yeah.
Or have you disappeared?
Right, we'll answer
Sorry. Yes, I am here. I'm multitasking.
There we go. Caught you out.
So what do you mean in 20 seconds or less? So I can get to the other questions as well.
Sure. So what I mean by that is I sell to families rather than businesses. So my issue at the moment is building a sales process that won't be too salesy, because it's not a business that I'm selling to. It is a family, and it's also a luxury item, I suppose. It's life story videos that I sell. So I create life story videos for families, but I'm struggling to get people. They love the idea. They absolutely love the idea, and they want to do it. But as soon as we get to the pricing, and the fact that they've got to find upwards of $1,000 for a 15-minute video, which is pretty damn cheap, but to a family, that's money they've got to find. So how do you sell to a family as opposed to a business?
There'll be three major things there. One is going to be your is the client that you're dealing with, right? There's a chance that you need to, if you're dealing with families and not businesses, and the cash flow is not readily available, right? Or they don't see the value in things, then you got to pick the right client, right? Is this a premium item? And if it's a premium item, find premium families, right? And I'm not saying that to discount anybody else. I'm just saying there are some people that drive Mercedes and Maserati and Ferraris, and there are some people that don't, right? And the guys that drive that, right, are going to pay for this, right? And in fact, they'll probably pay a lot more than $1,000, right? So there's that, right? So there's that, and I'm not saying to, and if you really want to make sure that this is available to everybody, then find a way to be able to do it where people can, automate their own life stories, so you can make it, really cheap for them. I don't know, but that's a consideration. I'm not saying that's a thing, but that is a consideration. The second thing, right, is right? And this is the big one that I heard there is I don't want it to sound too salesy. That's in your head. That's you. That has nothing to do with being a business or a family. Right? Now, don't sound salesy. If you walk in and say, here, buy this and you get a free set of steak knives. I mean, this is a wine glass, not steak knives, but you get my point, right? But if you say that, then you sound like an idiot, right? Right? But at the same time, the problem is that people go too far down the other rabbit hole of just not, really selling what I call the fun party, right? Imagine Tim and Nik, right? Give you a call, and Tim gives you a call and says, hey Andrew, or says, hey Nicola, sorry, I'm just calling you to calling to see if you want to come to a party on the weekends. My grandma's party, I just need someone to go with, and she, it's not going to be fun, or it's going to be a bunch of people sitting around, but I just need someone to go with. Can you come with me? And you got nothing to do, so you're like, yeah, sure, right? Anyway, 5 minutes later, Nik calls, and he goes, hey, Nicola. Right? My yaya is having a birthday and we're going to have ouzo and all the food and we're going to dance. We're going to have a great time and loud music. You want to come? Right? And you're just like, oh shit, I committed to Tim's party. This sucks. Right? Yeah, because Nik sold you a better damn party because he didn't give a shit what it sounded like when he said it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? And so the only difference there is they probably both could have been just as fun, but the way that it was told to you is what decided how much value you put on it. So don't ever look at this whole salesy thing, right? Look at what is the best way that I can deliver certainty to this person that it's worth $1,000. And the third point, and this is huge, and I'm sure that any salesperson in the room heard this, is you're not finding the decision maker. So that's it, right? And so your job, right, if you're not closing deals with families, it's because you're not selling to one person, right? You're selling to two. So your job when you're selling is, let's say you're selling to me and Nik, and I'm the decision maker, and Nik is the other person in the room, right? So we're a couple all of a sudden.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, so I'm the decision maker in the room. Your job is not to sell to me at the beginning. Your job is to sell to Nik and get Nik on your side, because then you guys can tag team and nail me, right? Because I'm the decision maker. So your job is to start with Nik and then move in to getting the decision maker, right? Because then Nik will back you up. But if Nik is not on your team when you move to the decision maker, I can promise you ain't getting that deal.
Screwed.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. I know. I've got a plan to get to the kids rather than the parents level is what I need to do. Yeah.
Well, be careful with that, because if you get to the kids will ask their mum to get it, but you're not a cereal box, right? And so I don't care who the parents are. If my kids ask me to spend $1,000 on something that I didn't see the value in that they did, I'm not spending $1,000.
True.
Right? My kids could not sell me on that. Now, my kids could sell me on picking up a cereal that's got too much sugar in it if there's a toy in there, right? Because I know they're going to have it for 5 seconds, right? It's going to be finished in a couple of days and move on back to healthy food again, right? Right? But it's just be very careful. Getting the kids on side is a very smart idea, Nicola. Absolutely need to get them on side. But trust me when I say it's about finding who the decision maker in the house is and then getting the other person to help you get the decision maker on side, right?
Okay.
Right? I promise you, with an item like yours, it's going to be much more effective than just targeting kids.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, when I say kids, I mean the adult children of the elderly person that I want to do the story about. So it's it's not your young children. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Jennifer, what?
All right. Well, I was just going to say we're at time. So
there's so many questions.
There are so many questions and so little time.
All right. Well, how about I do this, right? Because we've got a prize to give away, but that's too big. Do you mind if I do this now?
All right.
Right. All right. We've got a prize to give away, but this is the prize. That's a different thing. What I'll do for everyone, guys, is I know there's a lot of questions here, and I'm just not that guy, right? That I always say that in this day and age, right? Sales is about building relationships, giving value, and then you can sell your shit, All right, build relationships, give value, and say shit. So right now, I've built a relationship by talking to you guys all night. Well, not all night, for like an hour or whatever. Right, but you know, now I'm going to give some value. So for the first, how many people we got on here, Nick?
What's left here? We've got 17 here.
17. So for the first 7 people that go, right, don't do it yet. Wait up, right? So for the first 7 people, right? So get ready. Everybody get ready. So if you want it, get ready. You don't know what I'm going to say yet.
I can already see someone
everyone's
hovering
like,
over the keyboard.
Right? Because you don't know what I'm going to tell you to say yet, too. I'm not going to make this easy, right? So for the first 7 people to write, I'm going to say the word. When I say the word, that's your cue to go. All right? We'll get, for the first 7 people to put in the chat box, we'll get a 30-minute results session with me where I'll just answer all the questions on your business one-on-one. So we're not even going to do that, right? So that alone is worth a couple $100. Ready? So all you got to say, and when I say this word, it means go. I'm not going to say go, right? All you got to say is the word sales. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7,
8. Oh, Jane, you said say it. Oh, no, she's got it.
You said say it. So
sales.
Everyone else heard sales. Oh, it's so good. All right, sweet guys. My VA Jenny is on the call right now. She's taking down all your names. Jenny, you're taking down all their names. Please tell me you're taking down all their names.
We will save the chat as well.
She's taking down all your names. We'll be in touch with you very shortly, and I will. We'll be in touch with you very shortly. Anyone that said sales, we've only got 8, so we'll give it to the 8. So we'll give it to the 8. So anyone that said sales, we'll book you in for a 30-minute strategy call. Jenny will be in touch with you very shortly. Right.
And we have a draw as well.
Yeah, we do.
Fantastic. So we've got a prize draw as well. We do have the wheel of names to draw it, but tell us what it is before we draw it.
So now I will make this clear before we say it. You can't have both, right? So if you win the prize and you've got a 30-minute strategy call, then you won the prize. You didn't get the 30-minute strategy call. Or you can choose. You get to choose, right? But then you open up that spot for someone else to say it. So guys, pay attention to the names. If someone who's got a prize has won it, right? It wins this, then be ready to go sales. Right, real fast. Right. So, guys, what it is for the lucky person who pops up here is going to get 1 month of free sales coaching in my Sales Success Mastermind, which is 9 a.m. on a Monday. So what that entails, right? So that's the session that you'll fall into, is the 9 a.m. Monday session, right? So it's 1 free month. So you get 4 back-to-back, 4 weekly sessions in my group program. You'll also get what we call an Andrew Save Me call every week for the 4 weeks, which means you can pick up the phone. I said sales, right? Sales, right? Do you want me to spell it for you, Jane? Right. Anyway. Right. So you also get a Save Me call, right, every week. So what that means is you can pick up the phone each week and say, hey Andrew, I'm struggling with this, or this is my question about business sales, right? This is my I tried to close this deal and it didn't work. I've got this deal coming up. What do I need to prepare? Right? All of those things. Right, and we work it through in a 15-minute phone call, right? And you get one of those each week. You also get access to all of our scripts and templates, but more importantly than that, you get, ready for this shit, right? This is the one that everyone's gonna be like, damn, I want to win this now, right? You also get access to our 2-day sales process masterclass recording, which means that you have a 2-day program that will develop your entire sales process. Now, that is worth $1,000 by itself, right? So now, usually it's $397 a month, but if someone buys 1 month, which they can sometimes here and there, right, I'll sell it for $1,000 because that recording is worth $697 by itself. So, who wants it? No one.
Good on you, Jennifer.
Sweet. So here we go. Go
All
for
right.
it.
Well, we've got all of your names in the wheel of names, and the other qualifier here is you have to be here to win. If you've disappeared, then we draw it again, and you won't even know.
So to pay attention to the names of the results session if you don't win, because a results session person might win. Oh!
Line ball.
Hey!
Oh, that's yours, one. Congratulations.
Right, that means there's a sales spot open, by the way, so sales.
Yeah, thank you.
Sales.
All right. So, all right. Well, let's give a massive round of applause for Andrew. So, hopefully there were some things that were in there that were helpful, useful. You can go and implement. You can do something with. Just by a look at the comments there, there are a heap of things there. So, Andrew has actually travelled a couple of hours, hour and a half to come here. So,
It was. I drove in my Tesla. That was like. I had to bring it up. Right, man. That was an easy drive. I didn't drive. The car drove.
so he's come down to. So he might stay. We've got a couple of whiskies here, so we'll probably be sort of chatting for the rest of the night.
I may not be doing too well tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So for those of you that want to catch up on this again, it will be up on YouTube tomorrow at the end of tomorrow. So best thing to do is to go and like our YouTube channel or go and subscribe to it. You'll get an email notification when it comes up. You can save it and watch it again. The link to YouTube is now in chat. Just remember, those of you that want to save chat, those three little dots at the bottom of chat there, and you can save it to your computer, and it'll have all of the links in there as well too. Also tomorrow is office hours. So office hours is at 10 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. And that is a no agenda, no speaker, chat, bring along coffee, glass of wine, beer, whiskey, whatever you have at 10 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, it really just is a conversation with other like-minded business owners where we talk about probably some of the things that have come up tonight, but anything else to do with a business, particularly some of the online aspects of it. So if you've got a question, great time to ask, and it's a bit of a mastermind session as well too.
Maybe I'll jump on that.
You could jump on it as well too. So
Ask
that's
my own questions.
so yeah, so it's 10 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard. So yeah, wherever you are, sort of what's it, 10, 11, 12 o'clock in New Zealand, 10, what's that, 9:30 if you're in Eastern or Central Australia, 8 o'clock if you happen to be in Western Australia and up around sort of Singapore, Hong Kong, that sort of area there. All right, well, that is our session tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You've taken away some good things. So, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week or tomorrow. Have a good night. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nik Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.